Right, this is a C question from the 2012 summer exam. It's this question here. The question says, the main reason why there was much progress in medicine during the Renaissance was the existence of great men like Parry and Vesalius. How far do you agree with this statement? Because this is a C question, what it's asking for me to do is to answer one side, other side of the argument, and then reach a conclusion. What really it's asking me is, did individuals in the Renaissance make the progress, or was it other things? So this is very much a question about factors. So we've got three main individuals from the Renaissance. We've got Vesalius, we've got Parry, and we've got Harvey. Then on the other side, I need three other factors that have made great change in the Renaissance. And I'm going to go for religion, and then I'm going to go for chance and war, and I'm going to go for the printing press, which will be communication. So here's my answer that I've written. At first glance, you can see that I've got three paragraphs. I've got my first one here that is going to agree with the statement. This one here that then disagrees with the statement and explains the other reasons. And then finally my conclusion. What I should have done is, for my plan, I should have taken each point and then explained them. So it should be point, explain, point, explain, point, explain, which is in this paragraph, and then in this paragraph you've got the other side, which will be point, explain, point, explain, point, explain. So if I look at the first paragraph first, it says, on one hand, I agree with this statement, as individuals did make great progress during the Renaissance. Parry was a barber surgeon who discovered that ligatures were much better than cauterizing. This meant that surgery was less painful for patients and their chances of survival of the process much higher. Vesalius, so it's the second point here, Vesalius also made great advances in medicine because he could dissect humans and describe and record exactly what was there. By doing this, he disproved Galen and enabled doctors to learn from his book, The Fabric of the Human Body. So I've got point, I've got explained. Third point, William Harvey also proved Galen wrong by explaining how the blood flowed round the body. This would have a major impact on surgery, as it was now understood that blood loss could cause death. It also meant that the idea of the four humans was called into question, as there was a set amount of blood. So once again, I've got point, explain. So here I've got point, explain, point, explain, point, explain. What I've done now is I've highlighted the points where I've made my point and then I've gone on to explain it. And I'll just show you this in the second paragraph as well. It says, on the other hand, there were factors which meant the development of other factors that meant there was development in the Renaissance. Without the Reformation, the fact that the Church had lost power, Vesalius would not have been able to dissect. So there's my point. And then here I've explained the Church relaxing its laws on dissection meant Vesalius could make his breakthrough. Then I've got here, Parry made his advance to change the fact there was through chance and war. If he had not run out of hot oil for cauterizing, and if there had not been a number of soldiers to operate on, he would not have had the opportunity to make his discovery. So there's my explanation for that point. All three men published their findings in books that use the printing press. There's my third point. And then I've gone on to explain it here. This was important because the Church could no longer control what information was being circulated. The printing press meant that many copies of each of their work could be learnt from, and many by people, thus making progress. So these are the explanations for each of my points. So if you look now, in yellow I've got my points, and in orange I've got the explanation of each point. As this is an 8-mark question, obviously I have to put my conclusion on the bottom. What I've done here is I've taken whichever I think is the most important point out of the 6 that I've made, and then I've just explained why that one's the most important. So I've actually gone around to the end and answered the question. So here in conclusion, I think the printing press was more important than the individuals, because without it their ideas would not have been so widely seen and understood. The printing press was also one of the reasons that the Church lost power, and this was the reason for Arsalis could dissect. So that just means that would then get 8 out of 8.